Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I'm back for another channel update and random topics video. Uh, Been a little while since I've done one of these, and it's been a kind of a crazy busy time, and I think it's going to be even just ramping up even more as far as like game releases and tech coming out and everything like that. Fair few things that I want to talk about today here. So some actually that relate specifically to the channel and some tech and game and accessibility updates. I'm recording this just after the iPhone or the Apple September keynote here, so I figured I'd wait until after that happened and release this for Wednesday's video. But as I usually start these, I do again just want to thank everybody for supporting the channel, everyone who has commented and subscribed and who has communicated with me in one form or another, be it a comment, an email, uh, social media, Twitter, Blue Sky post, whatever. I've actually, believe it or not, had a couple of game developers, indie game developers, reach out to me recently. Specifically, a couple that have been developing accessible games of sorts, and so I already released kind of an early access demo video for one of those, and I will be covering that once it hits full release, I believe later this month. And I've got a couple other ones that I am not going to talk about just yet. But thank you to the developers for reaching out to me. I'm really glad that people are finding this channel helpful, whether that is if you are a gamer yourself with a disability, vision impairment, and I've gotten emails and comments and things from people like, "Oh, I didn't know I could play this type of game," or "I didn't know this was accessible," or "I lost my vision and now I learned that I can enjoy what I used to, at least to some degree." So all of that is great. It's very much appreciated and kind of it's what keeps us going because Lord knows there's enough negativity and chaos in the world right now. Um, but yeah, thank you to everybody who has been supporting the channel. Just before recording this video, I did take a quick peek, and it was like, I forget the exact number, but like 46, was it 26 or something like that? So over 4,600 subscribers. Again, still small compared to a lot of channels, but you know what? We're steadily growing little by little. And like I said, I would rather have a meaningful, honest, a channel with integrity than just one that slings out like I'm seeing so many channels that like you think it's going to be a cool video or a cool channel, and it's this AI produced. You can tell the AI is spoken voices because you can just tell the way it enunciates things, and it has this sort of just the way you hear AI. Like you can kind of tell when you're listening to something AI just in the way it words and phrases things now. And so it's just like this, oh, we just want to get as many views as possible, as many subscribers, and it's all about the algorithm. It's all about making money. I still haven't even monetized the channel, and I keep thinking I should, but I don't know what kind of can of worms I'll open up with that, but we'll see. But like I said, I would rather have a channel that, helps people, that entertains people. And like I said, what you hear, what you see is what you get. The people who know me in person, whether that's friends or family or my ex, like what you see on here is pretty much what you get in real life. I'm not going to create a facade. I'm not going to create a fake persona. Why would I? It's too much work. I don't want to have multiple personas I have to remember to be. I just want to be authentic. That being said, I do unlock videos right now every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Those are my unlock videos, unlock video days. Sometimes I will release videos Like if there's a holiday or a special event or accessibility announcement, something really huge I just have to talk about, or maybe there's a Steam Next Fest, which I just saw there's another one coming up around the corner. Oh dear Lord. The demos. We'll see what I can get around to. I want to talk about that later, along with another couple of events coming up here this month. Um, but yeah, so Monday, Wednesday, Saturdays. Sometimes I release videos more frequently for special occasions or just because. Everything is divided into playlists, so definitely check out the playlist tab, especially if you're new here. You kind of find out what content I create. I've got low vision spotlights for games I play with the remaining vision I have. I have accessible game spotlights for those are games that people can play if they are totally blind. I have VR content, virtual reality stuff. I've got Growing Up Illegally Sighted, which is kind of answering people's questions and kind of telling personal stories, answering questions that people have. How did I get into the game? How did I get into being an assistive technology specialist or an advocate consultant? Or, I talk about employment, education. Like, so if you're a student, if you're a high school, college student, if you're going through the hell of looking for work right now, been there, done that, and got the scars to prove it. So, all those types of things, I've got some geeky stuff, I got some hardware reviews, there's all kinds of stuff. So check out those playlists, iOS stuff, PC, console. Um, Heck, I don't even remember all the playlists I have anymore. But yeah, so check out the playlist, check out the channel in general, subscribe if you can. It would be much appreciated, and I hope you find something of interest here, entertaining or helpful or both. So, before we go into everything else, regarding the topic of my release days, I was looking through my videos that I've uploaded so far. And so, for those who don't know or don't remember, what I do, the way I run this channel basically is if I have something timely that I really want to, that I want to get out right away, maybe there's a new accessible game, so I want to be able to talk about that right away so that people can do it. Or maybe there's like for some of these Steam Next Fest, they'll have a demo that's only available for a short period of time, like a week or two or something like that. So it's like, well, let me get the demo video out so if people want to try it, they can try it themselves. But for others, it's just I'll play a game and I might not even get to the game until several months after it's already out. So, those are videos that I can just release anytime. So, life gets in the way, life happens. I don't just do this full time. I have a full-time job. I have I'm involved in several other projects and groups and committees and programs, and it's just, XR Access and Microsoft, and I'm just starting another, well, two new things here this year. Um, One of which I will be able to talk about here, hopefully, very soon. And then, yeah, another one that I will be able to also talk about, hopefully, within the next month or two. So, I keep super busy. This is not all I do. I don't just sit around and play video games all day. I wish I could. Um, but so I record videos when I can, and then I upload them and I just set them to private. That way, if I get sick, if I have technical problems, if I'm out of town on vacation, whatever, you guys won't know any better. You'll just get a video on your Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, whatever, and it'll be good. But I noticed that I was kind of getting like I had a huge backlog of videos for quite a while. But because I am releasing videos 3 days a week, eventually there was a couple spurts there where I wasn't recording near as many videos, and so the backlog kind of caught up. Not quite yet, but the uploaded videos, I don't have as many of those to pull from as I used to. And with all the other projects that I have going on, I haven't fully decided yet, and I've thought about a couple of different possibilities. And so leave a comment below if you have a preference, if you have thoughts or things that you would like to see. So one thing that I've contemplated Because originally I used to do Wednesdays and Saturdays. That used to be Wednesdays and Saturday. That was my spiel. But then when I started streaming back in the Mixer days, anybody remember Mixer? RIP. Um, I would stream the Mixer streams, and then I would upload them, but I didn't want to waste one of my Wednesday or Saturday videos, so I started basically Mixer Mondays. Well, then Mixer died. I switched over to Twitch, and so then it just became illegally cited streams, and I would release stream archives on Mondays, and I would still keep the Wednesday, Saturdays. Well, then again, things just got so busy, and I had to kind of cut back somewhere, and so I did largely cut back, and I stopped streaming. And I still, up to this point, I don't know that I would say that I'm totally retired, because I do enjoy it from time to time, and I do like the live interaction with people in the chat. But again, just like being a YouTube channel, if you stream, I think it's helpful if you have a kind of a set schedule so people know when they should try to join you, especially if you don't have many followers or viewers to begin with. It helps to say, oh, every Saturday evening, maybe roughly around between 7 and 8 o'clock, that's when I go live. Um, or sometimes Friday nights, whatever it is. And I just don't, with everything else I have going on, sometimes I just want some time off or, me time to do other things I need to do, want to do, or even if I just want to play games. I don't want to be live streaming, or I don't want to be recording a video. I just want to play and enjoy a game for myself. So I cut back on streams. Uh, it's probably been almost 2 years now since I've actually streamed, I think. I don't even remember. I think it was summer of 2023 when I did my last official stream. So yeah, it's been about 2 years, I think. But so because I wasn't streaming anymore, I just, no, well, I've got a lot of backlog videos, so I'll just replace those and release videos on Mondays too. So one option is I was contemplating just to, keep up the backlog and then I don't have to worry about um, recording as much content to stay ahead of the game. I was thinking about possibly going back to Wednesdays and Saturdays. And would people be okay with that? Wednesdays and Saturdays, I do longer videos for the most part, so it would give more people a chance to watch the videos. Especially, again, my low vision videos, I wish they did better than they do, because I hear so many times that, like, oh, there's way more low vision people than there are blind people, but the blind videos do way better than the low vision videos. But the other reason I was thinking that is because then it's nicely spaced out. You have a Wednesday, you have a Saturday, it's a nice twice a week thing. Whereas like Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, you get Monday, day off, Wednesday, and then a couple days off, and then Saturday. So I was contemplating going back to Wednesday, Saturdays, and then I could still sometimes release videos on Mondays or other days if something came up, but those could be my primary days. The other thing that I contemplated doing, there are a few playlists that I don't touch as much as I used to, partly because I think I've covered a lot of the areas that I've wanted to cover. But another idea that I had thought about, so I have playlists, like I said, in a lot of different areas, and I have the Growing Up Illegally Cited playlist, which I just talked about a few minutes ago. And those are more, I would say it's about blindness and low vision, but those are more of my, kind of personal stories. It could be about gaming, it could be about tech, and it could be about really none of those things. It could be a hot button issue, that is just related to blindness in general. Like I said, education, employment, other aspects of life, other struggles, those things. And I just released a video Monday yeah, yesterday, that is the Access Unlocked. It's been a while since I've done one of these. And these are videos, they're not spotlights per se, because a spotlight video, I want to show the game and talk about the game and its accessibility or, you know, lack thereof or whatever. But I'm just, I'm showing you the game, playing it. Access Unlocked is a more purposeful video that is intended to, here's a specific game, or here's a specific type of game, a genre, a certain type of game mechanic that I want to dive into, I want to dig into a little bit, and that I see potential where it's not blind accessible, but I think it could be. And I offer ideas and suggestions to developers on how you could make that type of game, that genre, that game mechanic to be more accessible. So I've thought about that, trying to think of, because like I said, there's plenty of low vision games that, yeah, I would love for them to be playable so that people could enjoy them, more people could. So trying to think about even going back to games I've either covered on the channel or games that I like that aren't necessarily blind playable, that you need sighted assistance to be able to play. Um, I've thought about maybe trying to go back and look at a few other genres or a few other games or types of games and offer suggestions. Kind of, again, going on a deeper dive than I would go into during a spotlight video. But then there's another playlist that I thought of that where I could do just really short videos and maybe just have those on Mondays or something. I have the tips, tricks, and troubleshooting playlist, which again, that's one I haven't touched in a while. But there are assistive technology tips. There are mainstream technology tips for the computer, for the phone, for whatever that I could do. And I would, again, these wouldn't be super long videos. Hopefully then I could just crank out a bunch of these and, release them when I needed to. But my thought is I could do between like, I don't know, like a 5-10 minute video tops that would cover some sort of tip, technology tip, to build that playlist up a little bit. And I already have several ideas, like for Windows stuff, a couple for iOS that I can think of right off the top of my head, because you have to remember, there's always people that are new to this stuff. Like a lot of people that watch this channel, yeah, you probably already know how to use a screen reader. You probably already know how to use NVDA. You probably already know how to use Windows, or maybe you know how to use iOS really well with VoiceOver. I have some people who swear that everything has to be done on their phone or their tablet, and they just don't like computers. But I sort of argue that in today's age, yes, iPhones and iPads are great, but if you want to be successful, I would argue that you really do need computer skills um, to be professionally successful, whether that's going to college, getting a job, because any variety of job will need computer skills. So, and I mean, I literally see things on occasion, like on Twitter. I've seen posts where like, I didn't know you could do that. I've been using a computer for like 30 years. I didn't know that little trick or that little command. Um, or it's just something I never bothered to try or use. So that's another option that I was thinking, because they'd be a lot quicker to produce in theory. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you would be okay if I went down to Wednesdays and Saturdays twice a week, or if you would be interested in, would you like to have maybe Mondays just turn into like a little shorter form videos? Then I could do, I mean, Access is Unlocked. Those would probably still be fairly longer, just because you have to go in depth to explain and to demonstrate certain things. But this tips, tricks, and troubleshooting playlist that I have, I could see adding little short videos for that that could help people. So, again, I could either keep the schedule and do something like that, or I could cut back um, to Wednesdays and Saturdays. So, yeah, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. And, we'll see what we can do. Because I'm not going to cut back just yet. I still have a fair few videos, and I know I have a buttload of videos I still have to record. Good God, my Steam library alone, I've either bought or there's been updates to games that I need to take a look at, or um, it's nuts. And again, I know I watched a couple of videos in the last week or so, some that are geared just toward first person shooters and some that are geared toward other types of games. Indie titles alone, there's a ton of games out there that I want to play yet this year that are coming out theoretically. And it's funny because like the AAA stuff, like, everyone's like, oh, Call of Duty and Battlefield. I'm like, meh, I don't really care. I played Call of Duty, like I think I played like with the original Call of Duty some. I played Modern Warfare 2, and then I just really fell off. I really stopped playing them. Like I haven't really played many of the Black Ops or the um I can't remember the other ones like Black Ops. There was whatever they were. And Battlefield, it's again, it's cool. I love the idea of it, but team-based games and being able to tell a friend or an enemy quickly enough before I get just murdered. I don't know. It's not something that I've really been good at, and so I've just kind of stayed away from those games. So I don't know what kind of accessibility some of these, Black or Call of Duty and Battlefield games are going to have. And depending on what it is, like I said, I have so many other things I need to do and play that, yeah, if I received a review code, I would definitely check it out. But I'm not probably going to go out of my way to buy some of these AAA games right now because I just largely don't have the immediate desire to go buy and play them. And, I have so many other things I want to play that I also have plenty of games to play. Like I feel like the indie game scene there's just so much more creativity and variety, and they're not focused on live service. You get unique art styles, unique gameplay mechanics, um, just all kind. I don't know. There's just something more to indie games that I've been playing so many more of those. And again, I want to promote the smaller developers too. I've heard several people comment, even developers themselves, to say, "Hey, this is cool that channels like yours actually really go out of their way to promote and support indie developers because Lord knows that there's so many games out there on every platform. It's hard to find stuff that stands out. There's so much stuff out there. It's like how do you find all the good gems? So yeah, there's a lot that I want to cover that I will be covering, and so that's yeah. I mean the Wednesday Saturday thing. Looking at switching up a little bit of how I do things on the channel, possibly. Like to hear what everybody else says. But like as far as the rest of the year goes, like I said, I'm trying to think of major like AAA games. Like I said, you have Call of Duty and Battlefield. I think there's a Dying Light game coming out here soon. There's Borderlands 4, which I kind of want to play, but I'm gonna wait for that one either to go on sale or if I get, like I said, God forbid I get a review code, I will absolutely check it out because I do have some interest in Borderlands. I have liked Borderlands games in the past. Um, and if they ease off on some of the really dumb humor that some of them have had, and if they make some of I've heard there's at least a little bit of text size options, and if they make that so the little tool tips, so much of that game is comparing stats for your loot and your weapons and everything. Ultimately, I wish it had text to speech, but it's not going to, I'm pretty sure. So if they've made that more readable, that could be really helpful. And I did watch a video, and maybe this has been in Borderlands 3, I don't know. I kind of stopped playing. I played 1 and 2, I played the pre-sequel, and then I kind of stopped. But one thing that I saw from a video for Borderlands 4 was they put in, because before you would pick up a weapon and then you would go back to your town or whatever, and then you would go look through your loot and try to figure out what you wanted to sell. Well, now I think they have a special hotkey where I can pick it up as normal, or I can pick it up and automatically designate it as junk. So when I'm looking at weapons in the field, all I got to do is go, do I want that? I don't really want to use it, but I need the money. So I could just collect it, mark it as junk, and then I go into town, and then instead of having to go through sift all my inventory again, which got tedious as all hell, I can just go and just sell all my junk, and then boom, I'm back on the road again. So that would be, that would make a lot of the tedium. I think that would alleviate some of that. But I mean, Nintendo, I would love to think that Metroid Prime 4 is coming out because God knows when, that thing's been in development for who knows how many years at this point. Um, I don't know what Nintendo will have, but like, I know there are. Is Silent Hill F, does that come out this year? I don't even know. Like I said, I don't even know. I haven't really kept up on a lot of the AAA stuff. I've been following a lot more of like indie games, like beat 'em ups and shooters, and I'm really, really, really waiting for the release date for Power Wash Simulator 2, because I, for whatever reason, like that, it's so just a zen, relaxing game that I've played the ever-loving hell out of the first Power Wash Simulator on multiple platforms because it's just something really chill to do while I listen to podcasts or books or whatever. So that I'm really looking forward to. But um, I know there are other AAA games. I can't think of many other ones. So because we don't have a Forza, we don't have anything from Naughty Dog this year. Um, no Spider-Man or anything like that. Um, I think 2026 we're going to have quite a few good ones again, but and like I said, that's okay because if I can buy a lot of cheaper indie games and finish a game in a few hours instead of 60 hours, hey, I'm all good. I'm good for that. I mean, I have, like I said, it's funny because all these games that I'm trying to do videos for, and that's the other thing, is like that's another reason for cutting back potentially on videos or doing shorter ones because I'm working my way through a couple of shooters right now, and I really enjoy both of them. But it's like if I want to keep up, I feel like I have to keep. I tend to abandon games once I have covered them on the channel. Like I play through them, I say that I want to continue to play them after I've recorded a video for them, and sometimes I do, but more often than I would like, I don't get around to finishing them because I feel like I always have to keep up with something new, whether that's technology or games or what have you. And so I just have this graveyard of games that I just haven't finished. Um, and so I really do want to finish some of these games um, that I've gotten to play. So, but yeah, that's sort of what's going on as far as the channel goes. Some potential things I'm considering. I mean, recent videos, like I said, I got that Access Unlocked. It's an iOS game, and they've had a couple in the series so far. This Omens, like Grim Omens, is the latest one here, but there's, I forget what the other ones are called, but they're neat. But yeah, there was like Grim Quest and Grim something else. I forget what the other one was called, but they're largely accessible in a way, but at the same time, there's a lot of little things that when you add them all up, Um, I can get through most of it with the vision that I have because I can kind of, if voiceover isn't saying things exactly the way I want them to, I can kind of get through it and be like, oh, that's what it's trying to tell me. But like I said, I started out this video as a accessible game spotlight video, and the more I got into it, I'm like, oh, this isn't reading correctly, or oh, this is confusing. And so I actually turned it into an access unlocked. And so if the developer, I did email the developer after recording that video, as I said I would do. And I haven't heard back from him yet, but like I said, I hope he doesn't, take offense to it. I wasn't trying to rip on the game, but I generally think it could be a great game. But there are some mechanics and areas that I think need work, and that's the Access Unlocked. That's what that series is for. Um, but I've done that. I've got, God, I mean, what other videos have I got? I've got a lot of, yeah, a little short Let's Play of a beat 'em up. I've got, oh yeah, the Sonic Racing demo, the Luminous demo. So yeah, and there's going to be more. So they're just, like I said, check out the recent videos, check out the playlist. There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff coming. Speaking of things that are coming up, couple events that people may want to know about here coming up. If you are into boomer shooters, retro shooters, and just brutal games as they were, um, Slim Bratsky, I've mentioned him on the channel over the last, year or so, quite a bit. He's another YouTube channel that I have started following, I don't know, a year or two ago. And, kind of like your Civ 11, your G-Man Lives. He covers a lot of boomer shooters and some games that aren't boomer shooters, but it's, again, largely what he'll go through. And he's having the kind of brutal game, I forget exactly the name of it, the Brutal Game Fest or whatever. Um, because I don't think we're getting a Realms Deep. Remember, I've talked about the Realms Deep show that they used to have for a few years in a row there. And they didn't have one last year, and I don't think they're having one this year. And it sounds like Slim has really taken up the mantle, and so he's doing a show on September 12th, which I believe is this Friday. And yeah, we are going to be getting a lot of some new trailers, some new gameplay footage. Sounds like we're getting some demos. I know that there's what is it called? Um, it's a Wild West first person shooter. I've been keeping an eye on it. There's going to be a demo for that. I know. There's another couple developers that said, "Oh yeah, we're going to have a demo coming." So I'm going to have to take a look at some of those. But just look up Zlim Bratsky, Zlim. I don't remember how to spell it. Bratsky or something like that. You'll find him though. And like I said, he's going to have his Boomer Shooter Brutal Games event this weekend. I'm very much looking forward to that. He's made me, unfortunately, I've teased him about that on Twitter, or I've joined his live streams every once in a while, and I'm like, dude, I love your videos, but you gotta quit, man. I'm spending way too damn much money on all these games that look so cool. He's like, yeah, I know, tell me about it. So there's that. And then, of course, on the 29th and the 30th of September, we have the North American version of the Game Accessibility Conference, GAConf. Go to gaconf.com and you can register for free for the online version. You can join their Discord and live chat with everybody during the event. I don't remember what the price is if you attend in person, but it's in Seattle this year, and you can pay to go in person. And I did go in, like I said, in 2019. I got invited to speak as a panel member for one of the sessions there, and it was a great experience. Like if you want to get into the game industry and you're serious about it, especially game accessibility, dude, you gotta go to the Game Accessibility Conference because you will meet other creators, you will meet lots of industry professionals, you'll meet game developers. Um, is such a cool thing, especially now that when I was there in person, it was only one day. And now for the past few years, it's literally been 2 days, and the past couple of years, it's been 2 days twice a year because we have the North American and then the European version in the spring. So, yay, I don't have to get up at 3, 4 in the morning uh, this time because it's North American version of GA But yeah, if you are interested in game accessibility in general, you can go to the Game Accessibility Conference YouTube channel because all of their previous year's sessions are archived, and there's some great ones. There's some ones from indie developers, AAA developers, industry people, people that make like adaptations for things like, oh, I've made a different types of custom controllers or what have you. And there's always developer panels. There's always player panels. So, one time it might be focused on deaf and hard of hearing. One panel might be focused on low vision, which was what I was in. One might be on like people with cognitive disabilities or autism or whatever it happens to be. So it's really interesting just learning all about all those different areas. So, again, you can register for free for the online version. I will absolutely be attending that. I literally marked those 2 days as vacation days on my calendar, my work calendar, because I'm not working those days. I'm going to my game conference. So there's that. Um, I think that's most of the conferences that I know of. I mean, I'm sure we'll have another Nintendo Direct at some point. I'm sure we'll have probably maybe a Microsoft or Sony thing, who knows, before the end of the year. Of course, we're going to have the Game Awards, which, it's the Game Awards, but it's more of like, hey, look at all the new game trailers that we're going to do for upcoming games, which is good, but, we've had that discussion before, so I don't want to dive too much into that this time. Um, but yeah, we have the Brutal Games Showcase, and we have the GA later this month. And as I said earlier, there's a couple of other things there's one thing that I've already done that I'm waiting for it to become publicly available, and I will share that information. So there was at the ACB conference this summer, there was a session that we had about audio description in games. And I was part of a panel member. It was about audio description and accessibility in games. And I was one of the panel members. I participated virtually in that. And that should be publicly released here soon. And so when that does, I will share that with people. And then I have few other presentations this month alone. I've got a presentation through work. Actually, I got two presentations through work. And I got to check. I don't know if I'm going to be able to record them. Well, the one I'm not going to be able to record, but that's, I'm going to be talking about AI and some of the upcoming glasses things for my coworkers at an upcoming staff meeting next week. But also next week, I'm going to be doing another presentation for an agency outside of my work, but it's, through work. And I'm kind of just going to be going through, kind of giving people an overview, kind of an accessibility 101 type of deal, where I talk a little bit about some of the current things that are happening in accessibility, a little bit about, what I'm doing through our work, because it's partners that community partners that we work through. But then I'm going to talk a little bit about accessible AI and accessible gaming and things like that. So I don't know if any of that is going to make it publicly out to the internet, if I'm going to be able to release any of that to you guys. So we'll see on that. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that. But there is one other project that you will learn about eventually that I'm a part of. And I'm thinking it'll either be maybe late September, maybe sometime in October, where I will officially be able to tell you about that. Um, Oh, actually, yeah. And then there's one more. So there's another. So there's a project that I'm working on that I'll hopefully be able to tell you about in the next month or two. And then I was invited to be part of another podcast that we're gonna try to get up and running in the next month or two as well. So those are two things that I will be able to tell you about and share with you eventually. So yeah, as I said, that's why I'm thinking about cutting back because I love what I do. I love everything that I'm doing, and but I have to kind of balance things. And I like having variety. So yeah, just basically what I mean is stay tuned. There are more things to come, both on the channel and outside of the channel. So yeah. Other things, or no, I keep calling it thinking WWDC, but no, September's Apple event. I will talk a little bit about that here, but honestly, there wasn't really a ton to talk about. I mean, to me, it kind of felt like another iterative year of hardware updates, refreshes. I was actually literally talking to a friend of mine a little bit before recording this video, and I had it on in the background when I was working on other stuff, but like it was a shorter presentation than they usually have. At least it felt a little bit shorter. Um, but I thought it was kind of funny because they really didn't talk about software at all. They mentioned iOS 26 and watchOS 26 or whatever, but they really didn't, go into any like, oh, here's some new software features that you're going to be able to do or whatever. And partly, I guess, I've already been using iOS 26 for a few weeks now, at least, probably about a month. So it's like, oh, I already sort of know a fair bit of what's going on there. But like the presentation itself was, to me, I was telling my friend, it's like it kind of felt more like a bunch of people that would rotate and they were just rattling off a lists of system specs, hardware specs. Oh, this is a 4 point whatever inch screen, and it's got a quad core processor, and it's got this thingy here, and it's got this new metal, this aluminum thing, and like it was just like literally, I felt like I could have just as easily read um, a combined list of like spec sheets, like product brochures with all the specs on them, and I could have gotten through that in 10 minutes uh, instead of an hour and 15 minutes or so, whatever it was. You have the new AirPods 3, which again, I want to try I want to try the new AirPods at sometime because everyone loves them, but I've never liked putting things in my ear. I don't like putting things in my ear, and B, I really wish that they didn't just hang from your ear. I wish they had like a little loop thingy that like went around the back of your ears, like so they wouldn't fall out or whatever, just something to kind of secure them. Like I know, I think somebody had said the Beats ones do that. They have like a little hook thingy that goes around behind your ear to keep them on your head. But I've just never found, I don't like sticking things in my ear. I much prefer the regular headphones or even the aftershocks that are bone conduction. They work well enough, but I kind of want to give them a shot in a way, just because they do have some interesting features. But I just don't know that I want to spend, 250 or more dollars on a pair. They have some. I don't even remember. Like, I do like that they're improving like the hearing capabilities with them, like for hearing aids and stuff. That's awesome, increasing the battery life and supporting that sort of transparency where they kind of work as hearing aids to some degree. There's some sort of like motion tracking in them or something. I don't even know how it works, but it's supposed to help like with the health stuff. Um, they're supposedly improving their sound and their noise canceling. And it's funny because I've heard demos even recently of different types of headphones and their noise canceling or especially their microphone quality. And to me, the AirPods don't sound all that good. I don't like their microphone. I don't think they sound near as good as several other types of headphones or headsets. So not really a lot to talk about there. Apple Watch, of course, they're doing their, the new Apple Watches, the Series 11, and now they have another SE, and then of course they're having their new Apple Watch Ultra version 3, I believe. And I like that they're really starting to focus on battery because even the Series 11, the base Apple Watch, you're supposed to get 24 hours now instead of around 18 or whatever it was before. Um, I like that the SE is kind of having more. They don't have some of the other health stuff, the health tracking stuff that their other ones do, but like at least their base model, being more affordable, it has a few extra things that they would normally leave out of that level of watch. Because they do have some sort of blood pressure monitoring thing. It's not really a sensor per se. They just basically said that it was like, oh, it looks at the way your blood vessels are doing something or other, but then what it does is it just looks at those values over a 30-day period, and then it lets you, oh, does it appear that you have high blood pressure or hypertension? And then, it's just kind of a thing of like, oh, you should, maybe talk with your doctor and kind of verify for sure. So it's not like a real thing where like, oh, I can just at any point measure my blood pressure. That's not what it is. But again, it's just a thing to kind of get somebody started. People who may have hypertension or high blood pressure who don't know it, can make them aware, and then they can talk to their physician, their doctor about it. So that's another thing. There's a more sleep tracking. It's supposed to analyze, like not only when you slept, but like how you slept when you woke up and how, I think some of the other, like there's third-party apps that have already been sort of doing that on the phone, but they're trying to put that into the sleep app and the health app um, of the watch itself. And the blood pressure stuff is not coming to SE, but I believe the sleep tracking is. So that's a thing. Um, the Apple Watch Ultra, like, part of me really sort of wants to try one of these years, but like, its starting price is, what was it, like $700 or $800? And you can only get that watch in cellular. I had the Series 4 Apple Watch cellular version, but a lot of what I was thinking would happen with the Apple Watch really just never really came to be. When the App Store for the watch came out, like everybody was trying to develop apps and come up with little gimmicks. But I don't really remember the last time I went searching for or I heard about an Apple Watch app that I really just had to have. I just used some of the built-in apps and the reminders and the notifications and the fitness tracking. Well, like whenever I play drums, they don't have a drum workout, but I just use the other workout and track it that way. Um, but like for what I use the watch for, the watch I have is fine. It does what it needs to do, and I don't really want to pay another $10 a month for another cellular watch. I suppose I don't have to activate the cellular, but then why am I spending $700-800 on a watch? I love the fact that like they're saying you're supposed to get up to like 48 hours of battery on it, um, and it's supposed to have better satellite connectivity. So when you're really in the middle of nowhere, it's going to help you better with that. And of course, it's got a lot of like fitness and fitness related things. So I don't know. I mean, it would be sort of neat to try out, but like I said, the watch that I have the Series 8 right now, and it's fine. I 99% sure I don't foresee myself really getting a phone or a watch this year because I don't know. I just don't. What I have is working fine. My 16 Pro Max works great, and you know the new phones are going to have more memory on them to help with AI and gaming and things like that. But I think until Apple really makes good on their supposed promise that they made last year, oh, we're going to have Apple Intelligence, and they mentioned Apple Intelligence several times today. But they said the word, but they didn't really say anything about Siri. They didn't say anything about what when or what new features are coming in the future. So I think this stuff is still a fair ways off. And so if you have a 15, a 16, I would just stick with what you got. Because unless your battery has really, really gone to crap or whatever, um, we almost have to wait for iOS and their AI stuff to actually catch up to the hardware. People have been saying that about the iPads and stuff for a long time. It's like, well, I still have an M1 iPad and it does perfectly fine, and we're up to the M5, and they're like, well, yeah, it's cool that you have all this processing power and whatever, but what are you going to do with it? And they did mention with AI, having instead of having to go to the cloud for everything, eventually, the extra RAM, the extra memory would be more for like you can actually process more things on device. So that's kind of a cool thing. But now that we're talking about the phones, you have four phones, four models. You have the 17, you have the 17 Air, which is new, and then you have the 17 Pro and the Pro Max. So what appears to me, what they did is they took out the Plus. You used to have the like the 16 and the 16 Plus, and then the Pro and the Pro Max. Well, now you have the 17 and the 17 Air, and the 17 Air is supposed to be it's super super thin, very very little bezels. Um, they actually talked about they're releasing a new MagSafe case for it. But that case is only they're only redoing a new case for the 17 Air, and I think because that phone is going to be so thin, it's going to compromise battery life, and so like you almost have to put on that extra case if you want all day battery life, which kind of defeats the purpose to me, but what do I know? Um, of course, again, it's better cameras, better processor. The pros are going to have more RAM. I think it went from 8 to 12. But really, like, there's not a lot other than the air being super thin and whatnot. There's not a lot really that stood out. I mean, I guess like the watches and everything, they're going to have 5G now. I forgot to mention that. But I don't know. Um, they talked with for the Pro and the Pro Max lines of phones, they are having this new sort of cooling system in it because of all the, especially when they start doing a lot of the heavy gaming and the AI stuff, so that things don't slow down and so that things don't overheat. And that's not a bad thing, but it is interesting. They made this whole huge big deal the last 2 years about titanium. It's the next big thing. It's lighter than steel and it's better. And now we're going back to aluminum. Even the Pro models are aluminum. So I think that's probably something to do with like it dissipates heat better. And when combined with the cooling, that's why they chose to switch back to aluminum. But it's so weird because they were really like, like I said, they were really all in on this titanium business the last couple of years. And now they're going back to aluminum. I don't know, man. I mean, if you want to follow, if you want a more detailed breakdown, there's going to be endless number of mainstream podcasts or videos and accessibility related podcasts and videos that are going to talk about it in far greater detail. But like I said, I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad products. I'm sure they're going to be perfectly great. And if I had an older device, I would consider upgrading. But for me, nothing really stood out. There's really nothing all that functionally different, especially on the phones, like, especially since Apple hasn't really done anything with Apple Intelligence to what they were saying they were going to do. And with the new the revamp of Siri, I just don't see the point in upgrading because, maybe by next year when the 18 comes out, maybe they will have some of those features in iOS 26.2 or iOS 27, whatever. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's not that they were bad, but like I said, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, it's your typical yearly upgrade, a little faster RAM or a little faster processor, a little faster, a little better, a little more RAM, a little better camera, hopefully a little better battery life or optimization, and little things here and there. And all those things are good, but I don't feel the need to upgrade every year. I mean, that's really all there is to say about Apple, really. At least from my end. Other little odds and ends, like I said, we're going to have the Game Awards later this fall. We're going to have the Game Accessibility Awards at some point. Tariffs and everything. It's weird because prices of we're in such a weird time for not just games and but technology, but everything. You go to the grocery store and you buy 2 bags of groceries and it's like $150 minimum. Um, Everything is going up. Like my utilities, like my electric bill. Um, like I know typically what my electric bill is roughly going to be over the summer when I run the air conditioner a lot more. And in the winter, sometimes it's not as bad, but if it gets super cold, I'll have to crank on the heat a bit more. But like I have sort of the lulls in the fall and the spring when I don't have to run either one as much. But like I could roughly know what I have, but like the utilities have gone up. Groceries are expensive. I don't even like going out to eat anymore. You go to fast food, you can't go to McDonald's for under 50. You get a burger and fries and drink, it's like $15. Shit, you used to be able to go get a combo meal for like $6. Not yeah, now you might be able to buy a drink for $6. Um, you go like maybe I want to treat myself and order a pizza. I used to be able to do that for like 20, $25. And now if you get, let's say you get pizza, one large pizza and a order of breadsticks or something. It's like 30, $40. Like for that price, I'll just go buy a frickin' frozen pizza and bake it myself and go buy a thing of breadsticks from the grocery store or Texas toast. Like I get this three cheese Texas toast garlic bread stuff. It's really damn good, and it's cheaper than going out to eat. So like everything is just so bloody expensive. And when it comes to games and whatnot, like you literally have. I saw something the other day. Like I already talked about how we had the PlayStation 5 and Xbox And usually during a generation, the price goes down. The early adopters pay more, and then they find ways to cut costs or save money or shrink down, optimize their manufacturing a little bit. And then, by the end of the generation, the price goes down. We're literally seeing prices go up. Sony did it, Microsoft did it, and I literally saw something a couple days ago about in Europe anyway, they are not only raising the price, but I don't remember if it was on the base model and the Pro or just the Pro, but they were going to go from a 1 terabyte drive to like an 850 gig drive. So we're raising the price and we're cutting the storage, which is really amusing to me because, oh yeah, that's exactly the thing that you want to do, because every day games get more and more ginormous. You get games that are well over 100, 200 gig, and now you're going to cut the level of storage in your system? That seems really brilliant. I I don't know, man. The world's going to hell. Like companies are greedy, and you got the president and the regime just lying to you and saying that, oh, we're going to make prices lower. We're going to make the country great again. We're pissing off the world. Nobody wants to do business with us. Nobody wants to trade with us. Countries are not, they're cutting back mailing things to the United States. Literally our allies are turning away and like making pacts with each other, and Russia's laughing at us. And I swear one of the requirements to be an elected official is you have to be a disgusting criminal. Greed and robbing people, raping people, rounding up people because they're different than you, almost like literally concentration camps in the US. You got like a military militia pretending to act tough when crime has gone down in some of these cities. I mean, God, Minneapolis, man, boy, I mean that's one city. If one city does need something to change, it's Minneapolis. I hope it doesn't really. I mean, I've heard some stuff in St. Paul too, but like Minneapolis, man, I'm hearing about shootings and stuff like every day. There was one weekend where there was I don't remember how many people were shot, like in like 2 days, and that was the weekend like right before the shooting that made national news, that literally that Catholic school where kids were praying before class, and some jackass opened fire from outside of the school and killed a couple of students, injured a couple more, several, like 17 more. I mean, like I said, I remember, granted, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, but like the weirdest people, the way out there people when I was in high school or when I was a kid, oh, that guy's crazy. That kid ate paste, or people get in fist fights or whatever sometimes. But we literally had when I was a teenager, students would come in their pickup trucks, leave them unlocked, and have gun racks in their back window of their pickup because they were going to go hunting after school. And no one ever got shot. No one ever got their shit stolen. No one ever did anything with the guns. They were there because they were going hunting, because they were going to butcher whatever they were shooting, and they were going to eat it. Um, all this stuff with the Epstein files, and just the way that I've gone on so long for this video. I don't want to end it by going down this rotten quagmire of politics, but I mean, what I will say is I'm pretty much, I'm against everything, like everything. This anti-vaxxer, this RFK bullshit. You know why? I mean, I'm not. The reason we don't have polio, the reason we don't have mumps and measles, because it's a social contract. We've decided that these vaccines work, and we've required, if you're going to participate in society, be it school or work or whatever, that people have these vaccines so that people don't end up dying or in an iron lung. I never knew anyone who had polio. I don't think I knew anyone with measles or the mumps. Maybe one person, but that was like in the 80s, maybe when they were, I had chicken pox, but why would we want to, Christ, kids get the flu and colds every other day in school as it is. Why would you want to, why would you want to make it worse and have kids get seriously ill? I just don't get it. I mean, the guy is a quack. Nah, just like if it doesn't benefit them, Trump and his rich buddies, and if it doesn't benefit them immediately, if it will benefit them 3, 4 years from now, who cares? I don't care. If it doesn't benefit me right now, and if you don't kiss my ass, I'm not helping you, and I will actively be hostile towards you. I will cut your funding. I will sue you. I will. Like, our president of the United States talks like a freaking toddler, has a vocabulary of a 5-year-old. I think he only knows 6 words. It's got to be great. We're going to make it the best there's ever been. It's a fraud. It's fake news. That's the only things he knows how to say. I am just so over it. And that's why I'm so glad, and that's where I'm going to stop it. I'm so glad that I have all of these other things that I've talked about in this video. I'm so glad I have gaming. I'm so glad I have the work that I do, not just work, that I have a job, but that I get to actually help people. Like, I get to help people find out that they can, if you have the right technology, find out the technology that works for them, and find out that, I can work. I just need this little adaptation here. And then boom, I can do what I always wanted to do. The channel, people find out, I can use my phone. I can use a smartphone. I can read my mail. I can recognize the products in my pantry. I can play games again. I can do any number of these things. That's, I like what I do. Yes, I work for the government, which is like, I almost hate to say it when people say, "What do you do for a living?" I'm like, well, I work in technology. I work as a technology specialist. And like, I almost hate to say that you work for the government, because the view of the government now is just like, ugh. And I don't blame them, because like the federal government is a dumpster fire at best and an absolute shit show at worst. I don't know. But I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. The channel is not going anywhere. Let me know what you think about possible cutting back to 2 days a week, or if you wouldn't mind seeing some of those shorter form like tips videos. Could try some of that. Any other ideas that you have, or are there other questions that you would want me to cover in growing up illegally sighted, or a particular game that you really, really would love to play that I've maybe covered on the channel that I could do an Access Unlocked video for that you would like to see. Um, Whatever, I'm open to sort of ideas, but like I said, I'm trying to find ways to make this a little bit easier on myself so that I can still keep up doing the channel as the best as I can, and I can work, I can play games on my own time, and I can just, live life a little bit on my own too. Like I said, if I alt tab here, I mean, this whole row here, this second row, is literally all these games. There's a Postal Brain Damaged expansion that I want to check out. There's a couple shooters. There's a game that I bought a while ago. I think they talked about it at the European Game Accessibility Conference. I forgot that I owned it until I was talking to someone and like, oh, I heard this has accessibility features. I'm like, oh yeah, I own that game and totally forgot to play it and cover it because I got so busy with other stuff. So there's another couple games that I want to look at. There's, again, a couple developers have reached out to me in the past few weeks, and so there's a couple other games, at least like one a PC game and I think a couple of mobile games that I might be looking at here. So we'll just, we'll see what happens, but I'm going to cover as much accessible stuff as I can. We got lots of low vision stuff coming. Oh shoot, yes, the last thing that I will mention, and it's a good thing, we'll end off on something positive. I talked about it a little bit before, but smart glasses are a thing, and we already have the Meta Ray-Bans. They've been getting steadily updated with new features and things, and I still use mine a fair bit. And I'm hoping toward the end of September, October, maybe even early November, I might have two other pair of glasses. I talked about them, I think, in the last channel update video, so I'll be brief here. But the Ally Solos glasses are available for pre-order now, and they are hopefully going to be shipping, I think, starting to ship for the early backers toward the end of this month, if not early October. The Giga glasses, the Echo Visions, they got pushed back a little bit, but I'm hoping by maybe sometime in October or early November that they will start shipping those out to backers. And so I'm really curious to see, with glasses like the Meta Ray-Bans that are mainstream glasses that are designed for everybody that just happen to work well for us. I'm curious what the differences are going to be between those and other products that are designed specifically for blind and low vision users. The Ally Solos glasses, I covered the Ally app for iOS on the channel a few times before, but that's what the Ally Solos glasses are based on. You're going to be using Ally but hands-free through the glasses. And then you have the Echo Visions, which they're doing their own AI thing, and other than a couple little demos, I haven't seen a whole lot about it, but it sounded potentially interesting, and they had all those pre-order incentives early on. So I decided to get a pair of those. So I will have the Solos and the Echo Visions whenever they do come out. So I will be able to cover those and give you my thoughts on those when they come out. I will do hardware reviews on those. And I think that's really about where we'll end it. I know I've gone pretty long here again, but there was a lot to talk about. A few things I'm mulling over for the channel, and looking forward to covering, again, loads and loads of games. Loads that are already out that are on my backlog, loads that are on my wish list that I'm just waiting to go on sale, and many, many more that haven't even come out yet that I'm going to have to try to either find time for, or to be able to afford, or both. We have all the demos that are coming along with Zlimbratsky's Brutal Games Showcase here later this week. We're going to have a Steam Next Fest coming. And who knows what else. So there will be plenty more to come. I just have to find time to do it all. So with that, that's where we will end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. You can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, Blue Sky at Illegally Cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. And stay tuned to Blue Sky and Twitter, because once I know more about some of these upcoming projects, I've got 3 or 4 things that I would like to be able to share with you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to fairly soon. But yeah, stay tuned to the channel and to my social media here, because once I'm able to share these things with you, I think you're going to like some of the stuff that I am checking out and that I am working on. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.